The cold, damp air of the shed bit at her fingers, but Marie barely noticed. Her gaze was fixed on the crude iron pots bubbling on the makeshift stove, each containing a slurry of pitchblende, an ore so stubbornly dense it seemed to defy the very notion of yielding its secrets. For months, she and Pierre had toiled in this forgotten corner of the École supérieure de physique et de chimie industrielle, a space so unsuitable for scientific research it was practically a stable. Yet it was here, amidst the dust and fumes, that a profound mystery was slowly revealing itself. Henri Becquerel had stumbled upon it first, those strange, invisible rays emanating from uranium salts, capable of fogging photographic plates, even through opaque paper. But Marie, with an intuition sharper than any scalpel, suspected there was something more, something infinitely more potent, hidden within the dark, heavy rock. She wondered, as she stirred the viscous, tar-like mixture, if they were chasing a phantom, or if this relentless, back-breaking labor would truly unearth a new kind of light. The shed itself was a character in their story, a dilapidated, drafty structure with a leaky roof and an earthen floor that turned to mud with every rain. It was a far cry from the gleaming laboratories of the Sorbonne, a testament to their financial struggles and the scientific establishment's initial indifference to their audacious pursuit. Ton after ton of pitchblende, the refuse from Austrian uranium mines, arrived by horse-drawn cart, dumped unceremoniously outside their door. Marie, often alone, would spend hours grinding the ore with a heavy iron pestle, her muscles aching, her hands raw. The process was agonizingly slow, involving repeated cycles of dissolving, filtering, precipitating, and crystallizing, each step designed to concentrate the elusive active ingredient. As the months bled into years, the activity in their samples, measured by Pierre's meticulously crafted electrometer, grew stronger, exponentially more powerful than uranium alone. It was an undeniable signal, a whisper from the heart of matter, confirming Marie's initial hunch. There were unknown elements here, radiating an energy unlike anything seen before. Their isolation of two new elements, which they named polonium in honor of Marie's native Poland, and radium for its intense radioactivity, was a monumental achievement, yet it was met with a chilling skepticism from the scientific community. The esteemed professors and researchers, accustomed to the neat, predictable world of known elements, demanded tangible proof. Theoretical deductions and electrometer readings, no matter how precise, were not enough. They wanted to see the pure substances, to hold them, to verify their atomic weights in spectral lines. This demand for empirical evidence, while fundamental to science, plunged the Curies back into an even more arduous phase of their work. To extract even a fraction of a gram of pure radium from the tons of pitchblende required an industrial-scale operation performed by hand in their humble, freezing shed. The pressure mounted, not just from the outside world, but from within, as Marie felt the weight of her conviction pressing down on her, urging her forward. The pursuit of pure radium became an obsession, a relentless, almost alchemical quest. Marie would spend her days, and often her nights, stirring enormous vats of boiling chemicals, her face flushed from the heat, her lungs burning from the fumes. The process of fractional crystallization was painstakingly slow, requiring hundreds of thousands of individual crystallizations to separate the radium from the barium with which it was chemically intertwined. Each successive crystallization yielded a slightly richer sample, a fraction of the precious element. Finally, after 4 years of this grueling labor, in the dead of night, she and Pierre returned to the shed. There, amidst the rows of glass dishes, a faint, ethereal blue-green glow emanated from the crystalline salts. It was radium, pure and incandescent, a beacon in the darkness. They had done it. The world eventually took notice, and the first Nobel Prize in Physics arrived, shared with Becquerel. But just as their fame began to blossom, a cruel twist of fate struck. On a rainy April day, Pierre, lost in thought, stepped into the path of a horse-drawn cart and was killed instantly. The glowing samples, once a symbol of their shared triumph, now seemed to mock her with their silent, enduring light. Marie was utterly devastated, a widow at 38 with 2 young daughters. The scientific world held its breath, wondering if her work, so intertwined with Pierre's, would cease. But Marie, though shattered, possessed an indomitable will. She refused to retreat. Instead, she took over Pierre's professorship at the Sorbonne, becoming the first woman to hold such a position, lecturing in the very auditorium where he had last taught. Her grief was channeled into an even fiercer dedication to her research. She continued to refine the atomic weight of radium, to understand its properties, to push the boundaries of knowledge. The scientific community, though still largely male-dominated and resistant to female leadership, could not deny her brilliance. In 1911, she received an unprecedented second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for her isolation of pure radium. Yet even this triumph was marred by a vicious public scandal, fueled by xenophobia and misogyny, regarding her affair with a married colleague, Paul Langevin. The French press, usually so proud of her achievements, turned on her, portraying her as a foreign temptress, threatening to strip her of her accolades. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 shattered the fragile peace of Europe and shifted Marie's focus dramatically. The war, a brutal industrialized conflict, brought unprecedented casualties, and the need for immediate, life-saving medical intervention became paramount. Marie, ever the pragmatist, saw an opportunity to apply her discoveries directly to the battlefield. She envisioned mobile X-ray units, which she affectionately called petite Curies, that could travel to the front lines, allowing surgeons to locate shrapnel and broken bones inside wounded soldiers, saving countless lives and limbs. Her eldest daughter, Irene, then 17, quickly joined her, learning to operate the complex equipment. The image of Marie, dressed in a nurse's uniform, driving a converted van through the muddy, shell-pocked roads of France, with Irene by her side, became a powerful symbol of scientific dedication in the face of unimaginable horror. The implementation of the petite Curies was fraught with challenges. Obtaining vehicles, converting them, securing X-ray tubes, and finding generators to power them was a logistical nightmare in wartime France. Marie had to personally appeal to military officials, often battling their entrenched skepticism and bureaucratic inertia. Many doctors, unfamiliar with the new technology, were initially resistant, preferring traditional methods. But Marie was relentless. She trained over 150 women to operate the units, teaching them physics, anatomy, and practical mechanics. She personally drove the vans to field hospitals, often under enemy fire, demonstrating the technology's efficacy, showing surgeons precisely where a bullet was lodged or how a bone was fractured. The sight of her, a Nobel laureate, working tirelessly in makeshift operating theaters, illuminated by the eerie glow of the X-ray screens, gradually won over the doubters. Thousands of soldiers, whose lives might have been lost or whose injuries permanently debilitating, owed their recovery to her unwavering determination. Yet the very rays that saved so many lives were slowly, inexorably taking their toll on Marie. For decades, she had worked with radioactive materials with little to no protection, unaware of the insidious dangers. Her hands were scarred, her fingers disfigured from handling radium. Her vision began to fail, cataracts clouding her eyes. She suffered from chronic fatigue, anemia, and inexplicable fevers. The glowing samples, once a source of wonder and scientific triumph, had become a silent, constant companion, a beautiful but deadly presence. The irony was cruel. The element she had discovered, which was now being used to treat cancers and save soldiers, was simultaneously destroying her own body. She carried fragments of radium in her pockets, kept vials by her bedside, fascinated by its persistent luminescence, never fully comprehending the cumulative damage it inflicted. The early days in the shed, where the air itself seemed to hum with unseen energy, now felt like a distant, innocent dream, before the true cost of that energy was understood. After the war, Marie continued her work, though her health steadily declined.
She traveled to the United States in 1921 and again in 1929, raising funds to purchase more radium for her Radium Institute in Paris, a pioneering center for medical research and cancer treatment. Her trips were met with widespread adulation, a stark contrast to the earlier scandals. She was hailed as a global hero, a symbol of scientific progress and female achievement. Despite her growing physical frailty, her mind remained sharp, her dedication unwavering.
She oversaw the Institute, mentored new generations of scientists, and continued to advocate for the use of radium in medicine, even as her own body bore the indelible marks of its power. Her legacy was not just in the elements she discovered, but in the institutions she helped build and the lives she touched, both on the battlefield and in the laboratory. On July 4, 1934, Marie Curie succumbed to aplastic anemia, a condition almost certainly caused by her prolonged exposure to radiation.
Her scientific notebooks, even today, are so radioactive they are stored in lead-lined boxes. The very essence of her discovery, those mysterious, persistent rays she first glimpsed in the cold, damp shed, had ultimately claimed her. But her death was not an end, but a profound testament. The glowing samples, once an enigma, then a proof of new elements, then a life-saving tool, finally revealed their full, terrifying power. Marie Curie taught us that the pursuit of knowledge often demands an unimaginable price, that the greatest breakthroughs can be a double-edged sword, capable of both healing and harming. Her story reminds us that science is not merely about equations and experiments, but about human courage, sacrifice, and an unyielding quest to illuminate the unseen forces that shape our world, even when those forces ultimately consume us.